Okay, so today we're going to talk a little bit about Module 4, Lesson 2. It's an introduction to measurements. And we're going to use a strategy called dimensional analysis for this. It's not necessary for some of the calculations we're going to do to use this strategy, but it is very beneficial, especially to those of you that are going to take a chemistry class or a physics class or an astronomy class or any of these science classes that we offer at this school, that we use a lot of unit conversions, because what this does is it lets you don't have to know quite as much. If you understand dimensional analysis, you can do unit conversions for any of those classes and be very successful. It's going to be useful in any science that we use. So that's what we're going to focus on here, and the kinds of problems we'll be doing here are, we'll start with kind of a simple one. If we want to change 36 inches to feet, okay, what we're going to do first is we're going to think about the conversion factor that's going to work in general for inches to feet. And you can get these a few different ways. You can go to the question help, they'll be in there. But really, what I do if I have to do a conversion problem like this and I don't know what the conversion rate is, I'm just going to go to Google and type this part right in there, inches to feet, and it'll pop it right up for you, right? So all of these things are very easy to get either in the question help or just by Googling them, right? So if we're thinking about this, then the conversion factor that we're going to need is that 12 inches equals 1 foot. A lot of people know this one already, but if you don't, you can look it up, no big deal. So then what am I going to do with this? Well, I'm going to start with my given. I'm going to start with my 36 inches, and my goal is to change this into feet. So I want to get rid of the inches, and I want to wind up with the feet. And what we're going to do is we're going to use fractions to make this happen. I don't want the inches anymore, okay? So I'm going to take the part of my conversion factor that has inches on it, and I'm going to put it on the other side of the fraction bar. Like this 36 inches is on top, I'm going to put the 12 inches on the bottom, and then the other part of my conversion factor has to go up top. And this is equal to 1 because they're equal values. 1 foot and 12 inches are equivalent, right? And the reason why this works is because the inches on the top and the inches on the bottom are going to cancel. Just like with our fraction multiplication we talked about last module, we can cancel those common factors on the top and bottom. We can cancel those common units that are on opposite sides of the fraction bar as well, okay? And look at what we wanted. We wanted feet. What do we have left on the top? We have feet, so we're done. We've done this in one step. So they won't always take one step. And again, this problem is it's a little silly because you can just kind of divide and you can get the same answer. But they won't always be this simple. They're going to be more complicated conversions that we're going to do, and this is going to really help us. And so looking at what we have left, we have a 36 on the top. We have a 12 on the bottom. 12 goes into both of those, and there's our answer of 3 that we're looking for there, okay? So that's kind of the idea on that one. Let's look at another one here. Okay, so let's say we want to change (68,640 feet) 2 miles. And one thing you're going to notice in this module is because we really want you to be using a calculator, some of the numbers are going to be a little messier than they were before. Okay, that's not unusual. Okay, so what we're going to do first here is we're going to find our conversion factor, feet to miles conversion factor. And again, if you know it, great. If you don't, no big deal. Just go into your web browser, type in Google feet to miles, just this part right here, and it'll pop it up, and it'll tell you that 5,280 feet is equal to 1 mile. Okay, so I'm going to set up my dimensional analysis just like I did up above. I'm going to bring my number down. Okay, and then I'm going to think about what my goal is here. My goal is to change this into miles, right? So I'm going to put my 5,280 feet on the bottom, and I know that goes on the bottom because I want those feet to cancel. I want to set it up You notice I'm not even thinking about the numbers. The numbers don't matter to me. What I'm using to put the numbers in the right spot is the units. I'm trying to cancel out those feet. Have feet on top, I have to put feet on the bottom to cancel them out. And then this is just a calculator problem. The numbers are kind of messy, but this 68, 640 on top, 5280 on the bottom, we can just divide those, right? That's going to be our next step here. So we're just going to take those, we're going to put them in the calculator, and we're going to get, your instructions do say, give the whole number or a rounded decimal, so you might have to round on some of these, but this one we didn't have to. We just got 13 when we divided those out. Nice even number there, okay? But again, we're using the units to put the numbers in the right spot for us, and then because everything's on opposite sides here, we just divide to finish up, okay? There is another, so let's do one where we have to do a couple of conversions. Let's say we have to change, say we have 6 yards, and we want to change that to inches. And there are a couple of ways to do this problem. It's not hard, and in fact, if you just go to like Google or something and you just put in yards to inches, you're going to get a conversion factor that says, 1 yard is 36 inches, and that will certainly work for you. But what we're going to do here instead is we're going to do this same conversion in 2 steps, because a lot of people don't know this one, and you probably know, a lot of people know at least, that 1 yard is 3 feet, right? And 1 foot is 12 inches. Like, a lot of people just know those conversion factors because we kind of use them more often, okay? So instead of doing this, we're just going to use these 2 instead. We're going to do a couple of different, and this is very, very common in science, to have to do multiple conversions to make your numbers work out the way that you want them to. So we're going to start with our 6 yards. Okay, we're going to write down our goal. Our goal here is to make some number of inches, right? And then I'm just going to set up my units to cancel to get that to happen here. So I'm going to start with this one, okay? I want the yards to go away. I'm trying to get inches. I don't want these yards. So I'm going to take the yards part of my conversion factor. Since this one's on the top, I'm going to put it down on the bottom, okay? And then that means the other part of my conversion factor, the 3 feet, has to go up top, okay? And then that gets rid of the yards. And now look where I am. I'm at feet. I want inches, so I'm not done. I've got to go again. That's what we've got the second conversion factor for. Okay, I want to get rid of these feet on top. I'm going to take the feet part of my conversion factor, put it on the bottom. 12 inches goes up top. Okay, feet are gone. Okay, inches are left. And that's what I wanted, so now I know I'm done. Okay, so we could have done this in 1 step with that other conversion factor we talked about, but we can certainly do it with 2 simpler conversion factors as well if we want. And now if we look at our work here, everything's on the top. 6 and 3 and 12 is all on the top, so really this is just a multiplication problem now. So we're just going to multiply 6 times 3 get 18, and then 18 times 12 will give us 216, and that is our answer to our problem. Okay? The other big type of conversions we're going to do are going to be with metric numbers. The ones we were doing, the last 3 problems, we call those English conversions, and in fact, they're what we use most often in America. We use inches and feet and miles and pounds and ounces, and these are all called English units, okay? But in science, more often than not, we use the metric system for things, and I'll show you why. The metric system is easier to do math with, for sure, because everything, our units are very strange, because 1 foot is 3 yards and 1 foot is 12 inches. We have these weird strange conversions that we have to use where not everything is consistent. But in the metric system, everything is a factor of 10, a multiple of 10 or of something else in it. So like when you have meters, for example, okay, you can have centimeters as well, and there are 10 centimeters in a meter. There's always 10 of something in the next biggest piece there. You can also have millimeters. Okay, and there are 10 millimeters in a centimeter. Everything in the metric system is a factor of 10. Okay, and there are consistent, we call these prefixes, the first part of these numbers, they're going to be consistent for different types of units. Okay, so there's a pattern that we can use to really help us when we're working with these units. So it's going to look like this. Okay, so what this means is in the middle, this O means there's no prefix. So these are going to be things like meters, grams, liters. Okay, so this O means there's no prefix on it at all. Okay, and then these other ones, this C over here is going to be the centi. So centimeters, centigrams, centiliters. This M over here is going to be milli for our prefix. Okay, over here on the left, this K is going to be kilo. Okay, so kilometers, kilograms, kiloliters. These other three, we don't use them very often. This is hecto, deci, deca, but we don't use those very often at all. So we're just going to focus on these big ones right here. Okay, so why do I care about this? Now, there's a bunch of devices you can use to help you remember this. The one that I've always used is kids have dropped over dead converting metric. Okay, so that's a little mnemonic device you can use to help you remember this little pattern, but it's going to be the same for all of our different major types of units that we're going to start with. Okay, and this is going to make our conversion factors in the metric system very, very easy. Let me show you what I mean. So if I want to change 250 millimeters to meters. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring my number down, and I'm going to find the decimal place. There's no decimal written here, but we've learned that when we have a number that has no decimal, it's going to be, you know, after the last digit. So the decimal is right here. And then in my little chart up here, I'm going to find the millimeters. So milli is over here on the right. Okay? And then where am I trying to get to? I'm trying to get to meters. That's going to be the center. Meters, grams, liters, all in the center. So I'm just going to kind of move my way across. I want to go from millimeters to the center. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 spots to the left. And to make this conversion, I'm going to do exactly the same thing with my decimal point. I'm going to take this decimal, I'm going to slide it 1, 2, 3 spots to the left, and so my answer here is going to be 0.25 meters. Okay, so very easy to convert in metric once you've done it a few times. It's a little tricky the first few times, but we don't have to do any big calculations, and because everything is a multiple of 10, all we're really doing is we're sliding the decimal around to make it happen. Okay, so let's look at another one here. So let's start with, let's change 3 kilograms to grams. Okay, so I'm going to start by writing down one out there. So just use my little mnemonic device to write these things down. Okay, and then I'm starting with 3 kilograms. So I'm going to locate my decimal. I don't have one, so it's after the last digit again. Okay, and then I'm going to slide from kilo, which is over here on the right, to the center, which is where the grams are going to be, the no prefix. So we're just going to take our decimal, we're going to slide 1, 2, 3 spots to the right, and then we're going to do exactly the same thing with our decimal. We're just going to take it 1, 2, 3 spots to the right, fill those in, and that will give us our answer there. Okay, so very easy to do these conversions in the metric system because they're all factors of 10, multiples of 10 of each other. Then we can just slide that decimal around, get it into the right spot. Okay, so hopefully that's enough to get you off to a good start here with lesson 4, but please let me know if you have any questions at all, and you all have a good day.